What's up, everybody? This is Derek here, and welcome to Surviving the Final Circle Episode 2. This is hopefully going to be a series on this channel where I show you what I do right, what I do wrong in surviving the final 10 or so people. So you can see here that I have to move into the circle. I have to move quite a ways, so I have a vehicle here. However, vehicles in the final circles are very different dependent on the terrain of the final circle. So you can see that we are finishing up in a pretty rocky, hilly area. And as a vehicle in the final circle, your primary purpose is either to run people over or to draw fire so you know where your enemies are. That way, when you hop out of the vehicle, preferably behind cover, then you can take out the people who were just shooting at you. No one was shooting at me there, and I had no reason to believe anyone was behind me at that point, although I am going to be looking back towards that house just to make sure as the circle closes in that nobody is behind me and is going to sneak up and kill me. So I see a shed or a shack over there, so that might be somewhere I can move to. And again, just watch behind you just to make sure nobody is using that healing strategy and healing and then chain healing and then running into the final circle, because that might not be good. You saw I used a boost item before I got into the circle. I didn't have that many this game, unfortunately, so that's why I didn't fully boost. But if you have a hilly area like this, I recommend ditch the vehicle once you're up to the top 10 or so, because there's just a good chance that you're not going to be able to drive fast. You're not going to be able to run people over anyways. Now, if you're in an open field, especially on Erangel, the other map, if you finish in like a hayfield or something where everybody's lying prone just trying to hide, then that's a great opportunity to use a vehicle in the final circle or final circles to get those easy kills, because vehicles are so effective at running people over. However, if you're in terrain like this that's super hilly and easy to duck behind and hide behind, it's not really that practical to use a vehicle. So I hear people off to my straight ahead right now, off to my northwest. And this is really the most important thing, is whenever you hear shots or hear movement or anything in the final circle, just make a mental note of where it is. So I know that there are people, at least 2 people, because they're shooting each other. So I know at least 2 of the 6 remaining people are over there by that house, or maybe it's only 1 now because one person might have died. But still, whenever you hear shots, you know that A, somebody sees somebody else most likely, and B, you know where at least one of those people is. And if it sounds like it's a distant shot off in one direction, that means you know where both the people are, because they're both that way. So I have a scope here. It looks like a 4x scope. I've got an M4 suppressed, so that's pretty good for those late circles. And I'm just looking around. I'm using the topography. I'm crouched, so that reduces my hitbox as well as making me harder to see from behind the cover here. You can see I'm looking over towards that shack just to see if I see anybody off that way. I'm going to switch over to my frag grenades. That way, when I go ahead to toggle them on later in the game, I don't have to take that extra second or half second or so to switch away from my stun grenades. The stun grenade, unless there's a weird like circle closing in a house or something. I mean, there might be some situation when I need to use them. You can see I'm using that hay as cover again. Now I'm using this bush as cover. When you're this close, when you're within 120 meters or so of everybody, the bush is going to render for people. So that does make it very effective. It's awful, it's awful. It's not effective at all earlier in the game when people are looking at you or sniping you from more than 100 meters or so. But once you're within that 100 meters, which is roughly from here to like that rock that was off to my left right now. But once you're within 100 meters, the grass does render. You can see the circle's closing. I am closing in with the zone again and just taking a mental note of where the next zone is. I still haven't seen anybody. 2 more people have died. Now there are only 3 other people left. So now it's really just a matter of figuring out where they are and how I can kind of position myself to best engage them. One of my sides is exposed right now, so I know if I'm getting shot, I'm going to have to duck behind this quick. It's not the best idea. However, again, I heard the shots all off that way, and that's where the buildings are, and that's where I assume most people were. So, see here, I'm just looking in the windows, just seeing if I can potentially, not even engage them, but just know where they are. That way, when it comes time to engage them later, I have the upper hand there. So nobody's shooting at me. That's also a pretty good indicator that nobody knows where you are, because especially if you're standing still or not moving around a lot like I am full level 3, which will help if I get shot. But The fact that nobody's taking even a single shot at me when I'm really not moving much means that most likely people don't know where I am. I'm going to start moving up ahead of the circle. That way I'm not running in entirely with it, because when you're running in with it, especially late game, it does so much damage if you're outside of it that and everybody can see you running in, that you're just so exposed. So I see suppressed fire straight ahead somewhere, so I'm going to start looking for that guy. I'm going to start crawling around this ridge, moving around. I'm going to have to move a little bit quicker though, because the circle's starting to close in now. So I know there's suppressed fire somewhere up ahead. Going to use this tree as cover. The trees are hard cover. I see that there's not a UAZ, but like a vehicle over there near that drop. So I figure there might be somebody down that way. That could be where somebody's hiding. The suppressed shots were pretty much straight ahead, so I'll have to figure out where those are, because people are probably in the grass at this point, or they're behind trees, so it's not going to be the easiest to see them. So I still don't see anybody. There's 3 people left somewhere, so I know I'm going to have to move pretty much straight ahead, straight to like the northeast right now, and there's very little cover that way, especially if people are downhill from me shooting up. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I've got a minute to make up my mind, figure this out. This is when I should have used a boost item. I'm not sure if I do or not, but I should, because nobody's shooting at me and I'm down a little bit of health, and it's the end of the game. You might as well, you can't take them with you to the next game. So I've got the M416 out. I've also got a Groza. Not the best to have 2 ARs like that, but the Groza does a lot of damage, but the recoil, the M4 recoil is just so much more manageable, especially with the attachments and a suppressor on it. So I hear somebody shooting behind me. This is strange, so I'm going to actually peek around, use this tree. I see him. He's prone in the grass. When you're prone in the grass like that, it's pretty difficult to actually engage people, because generally your sight is obscured by the grass. So now I'm just applying a bandage quick. Not a bad idea. Nobody else is shooting at me, so I figure the air people must be further away. So that's where that suppressed guy was. So that's the only person I definitely knew where he was. There's an air person right there. So that was kind of just potato aim on his part. I don't know what he was doing. I doubt he was a bot this late in the game. They generally, and there's the last person. So now I'm just going to start moving. He's shooting at me. I'm shooting at him. I'm going to try to weave a little bit so he doesn't know where I am. I'm going to start moving around this way. Maybe he's going to think I'm going to come straight instead of at the side. Get a couple more shots in at him. And I know he's very low at that point, so able to just burst him down, kind of rush him. Having a lot of health and having full level 3, I recommend just going either side. That way you're not running straight ahead. When you're running straight towards somebody, you're a super easy target to mow down, but when you're moving side to side, it's harder for them to hit you because they have to adjust their aim side to side, which is tougher. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up to help the channel grow, and consider subscribing if you haven't already for tons more PUBG mobile content. My name's Derek G, and I hope to see you on the battlefield soon.